Tony Stark, the OG, the one who started it all. First movie in the MCU, and it's been almost 15 years. 2008 seems like a long time ago. It's when The Dark Knight dominated the box office. But even back then, Marvel had some power. Iron Man was number 2 that year. Really though, it's because it's a solid movie. And years later, this movie continues to be phenomenal, and probably will be for a very long time. It is a classic. So, in this video, I figured I'd take a look back on the movie. I will recap the story and point out some of the most memorable moments along the way. Let's get into it. The movie opens with Tony Stark on his way to a weapons display for the military. His convoy is struck by an enemy attack. Tony gets out, but he is hit by one of his own Stark branded weapons. Tony is captured by the enemy. The movie jumps back 36 hours to before the attack, where at an award ceremony Tony is being honored, but Stark is not there. Instead, he is out gambling, caring for nothing but himself. Obadiah Stane accepts the award. Obadiah is a business partner and father figure to Tony. We are also introduced to Pepper Potts. Pepper is Tony's assistant, but in reality, she is running his life for him. Tony heads to his weapons presentation with Colonel Rhodes. After he successfully demonstrates the Jericho missile, it cuts back to the attack from the beginning. Tony is now in captivity. When he wakes up, he notices he is attached to a battery. A man named Jensen, who is also a prisoner, tells Tony it is an electromagnet, and that it is stopping shrapnel from reaching his heart. Jensen is a doctor and tells Tony he had to install it or Tony would have died. Tony's capturers want him alive so that he can build them the Jericho missile. The men show Tony a weapons supply full of Stark weapons. They demand he makes the Jericho missile for them. Tony agrees to make it, but when it comes time to start working, Tony pulls out a sketch of a prototype suit that he has drawn. Tony pretends to build the Jericho while secretly building his first Iron Man suit. Stark begins with the arc reactor. He builds it to power his suit, but also to keep the shrapnel out of his heart instead of having to carry around the battery all the time. His captors start getting suspicious. They confront him, but Tony is able to convince them he really is building their missile. Tony finishes the suit just in time before they find out. He powers up the suit and makes his way to the exit. Jensen sacrifices himself to buy Tony some time. On his way out, Jensen tells Stark not to waste his life. It seems to affect Tony. Tony escapes and the military finds him in the desert. When he gets back, he holds a press conference. He shocks everyone by saying Stark Industries will be closing down weapons production immediately. Everyone freaks out. Obadiah steps in to say Tony is still out of it and he just needs some time to rest. Obadiah and Tony talk in private. Obadiah wants him to lay low while he recovers, but Tony keeps talking about the arc reactor he created. He shows Obadiah the one in his chest. Obadiah is surprised. He tells Tony to keep that to himself, and he is acting very suspicious. Tony replaces his arc reactor with a new, more powerful one. Pepper saves his old one and gives it to Tony as a gift. Eventually, Tony gets to work on a new suit. After trials and errors, Tony completes his Mark II suit. He takes it out for a test flight. His AI, Jarvis, warns him it's not quite ready, but Tony being Tony, pushes it to its limits. It is a success. Meanwhile, Tony's capturers have found the remains of his suit he used to escape. They are trying to rebuild it for themselves. Tony makes an appearance at a party where a reporter confronts him. She tells him about Stark weapons being used by terrorists. Tony tells her he didn't know anything about it. He goes to confront Obadiah and asks if he has been selling weapons to terrorists. Obadiah admits it, and Tony is pissed. That night, Tony makes the decision to take action. He suits up as Iron Man and goes to the town where his weapons have been found. He saves the civilians and destroys the weapons. On his way back, the US military picks up his suit on radar. They send jets to investigate. Colonel Rhodes calls Tony, but Tony plays it off like it's not him.
He tests the limits of his suit against the jets. He accidentally destroys a jet, but Tony saves the pilot, and eventually he tells Rhodes that he was just having a little fun. Obadiah goes to meet with the terrorists. He promises them weapons in exchange for the pieces of the Iron Man suit, but Obadiah double-crosses them. He takes the suit and kills all the men. Pepper sees Tony in his suit for the first time. She is concerned for his life, but Tony is dead set on avenging his old ways. He says he finally knows what he has to do and that in his heart it is right. Tony tells Pepper about Obadiah. She goes to his office to steal data from his computer. She discovers he is building a suit of his own. Obadiah shows up, but Pepper is able to get out of there. Obadiah is having trouble recreating the arc reactor to power his suit. He goes to Tony's house and uses some Stark tech to temporarily paralyze Tony. He steals Tony's arc reactor right from his chest. Tony is able to make his way to his garage and he finds the arc reactor Pepper saved for him. Rhodey gets to Tony just in time to help him change it. Pepper heads to Obadiah's location with Agent Coulson and S.H.I.E.L.D. to arrest Obadiah, but he powers up his suit and attacks them. Tony shows up with his underpowered suit and him and Obadiah fight it out. Obadiah's suit is more powerful with the new arc reactor, but Tony outsmarts Obadiah. He is able to overload the arc reactor at his building with the help of Pepper. The explosion kills Obadiah. In the end, Tony has a press conference to explain the incident that occurred near Stark Industries. He is instructed to say that he has no idea what happened, but when the time comes, he reveals the truth. He says,
I am Iron Man.
The end.